This episode of Capes and Lunatics is brought to you by Tweaked Audio. Get awesome headphones, go to tweakedaudio.com and use the coupon code Southgate to get 30% off, free shipping, and a lifetime warranty. Or you can get there through the link on our website, southgatemediagroup.com.
This is Luca Perich, and you're listening to the Capes and Lunatics podcast.
Recording has started.
Hello, ahoy hoy, and welcome once again to Superconnectivity. I'm your host, Charlie, the Professor Esser. With me, as always, is the blue-eyed bomber from the Burger Fits.
Phil, Filmy, and Perich.
Welcome, Philip.
Thank you,
so
Charles.
Glad to have you. And little Luca in the background. I love his voice on that.
Yeah.
Capes and Lunatics. Get so excited on the Lunatics. He's like, the Capes and the Lunatics.
Gets excited, yes.
Yes. Well, because his daddy's the Cape, so he knows him.
Well, yeah.
Lunatics. He knows that's Auntie Lilith. He's like, yes.
Oh, I
that Auntie Lilith.
should have had him say ampersand.
Ampersand. Yes, I know. I'm silly. Because it's not... Well, actually, it is in the logo behind you. But it's not in our, written...
Yeah.
Anyway. But speaking of Luca, I just wanted to... For those of you who, listen every so often and you hear, me yammering at Tristan... There's actually a very specific reason why I do that. I actually feel that it's very important for me whenever my kids ask me, some kind of ridiculous question, that I want to make sure I at least answer them or show them that I'm not dismissing their questions. Because this is one of these weird things how a meme you see on Facebook can, influence you for the rest of your life. And it was just one of these memes that said, when your kid wants to talk to you about something you're not interested in when they're a kid, you should engage them, because at some point in their life, they're going to want to talk to you about something that you will be interested in as they're growing up into teenagers, and you'll want them to know that they can come to you then too. So I try to be, so for those of you who question my parenting style, Phil, Tyler,
I don't question you.
There is a reason why I am that, direct and open and communicative with my kids, because I want them to know when they get harder questions that I'm still here to talk to them. So yes, sometimes we'll talk about whether or not amethysts are truly rare stones, or not. And sometimes we'll just talk about, gay sex. So anyway.
If I had a problem, I wouldn't put it on this podcast. I
know you wouldn't, Philip. I just feel the judgment all the time. Oh, goodness, but where am I now? Okay, so speaking of gay sex, I did want to touch back on Watchmen, because for those of you who listened to our last broadcast, who podcasts The Watchmen, we were discussing this interesting turn of events where, yes, a major character was revealed to be African American, and the internet, and what actually is, this is what breaking the internet looks like, because the internet got broken because fanboys weren't yelling. It's like, what is the internet still working? It must be broken, because clearly this is what breaking the internet looks like, because the internet is supposed to be a venue for people to yell nonsense at one another, and yet people were respectful and quiet about this episode. And yes, go ahead.
I was going to say, again, do you think maybe is Hooded Justice not that well known of a character? Or, we haven't really had any instances of him taking off his mask.
You know what? Yes.
Or am I being too logical for racism?
You're being way too logical for racism. Really, is Nick Fury that important of a character that yet we still get people upset that they made him black in the comic books first?
Still? Yeah.
Yeah. Still you'll get those people for whom Lilith Hellfire, for whom David Hasselhoff is her only Nick Fury. I think she's gone on record once or twice with that concept.
Yes.
But no, because my pet peeve is that no one complains about Blue Korg either.
Mm-hmm.
And if you were this, because every racist always says, I'm not a racist, I'm just, I want to be honoring the intention of the artist, and you can say what you will about the intentions of the artist, I honestly don't think Alan Moore or Dave Gibbons thought that Hooded Justice was going to be a black man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, honestly, I actually think that the Klan references in Hooded Justice's costume in the original David Gibbons, Alan Moore working of it probably related much more to Alan Moore's view of superheroes as, you know, white power symbols. So
Yeah.
turning it on its head, reversing it, which again, as we said in Who Podcast The Watchmen, is kind of the American tradition that people can put out stuff, but then because we are such a diverse society, other people are going to put out their own story to counteract them, to give a counter narrative. And that is what I think this Watchmen series very much is.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that there comes a point where something comes off as being so good that that very small vocal group can't gain traction. And oddly enough, I think this actually falls to Blue Korg as well. Blue Korg was such a beloved character by Taika Waititi that you just weren't going to gain traction if you wanted to die on that hill. If you wanted to die on this hill, first off, there are going to be people who said, first off, we love the character. And actually, with that one, it's just the love of the character. Everyone loved Blue Korg. He was hilarious. Now, granted, nothing like the Korg in the comic books. Korg in the comic books is not a wisecracking, hipster. And really, in many ways, I would say that if you wanted to die on a hill, you probably had the most comic book lore to stand on to say that Blue Korg really is offensive. But he was just so well done.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that when you look at this Watchmen episode, what you get is this reality that, yes, canonically, they never actually said he was a white guy. You know, his costume definitely has these, you know, Klan tropes, but that make more sense, especially because he's a black hooded figure, for the concept that we've put forward. And just the idea that, yeah, you know, maybe there is more to this story than people want to admit. And I think that when a story gets really well done, gets very well reviewed, you know, that these small voices get stomped out, you know?
Yeah, do you think maybe our comic book nerd culture is evolving, but then the general public, maybe who would screech about this more, aren't as familiar with Hooded Justice and Korg, so they're like, oh, well maybe they don't know that there's anything different about them.
I mean, that's certainly an argument, but from what it's like this, conspiracy theories crop up everywhere.
Yeah.
So it's like, if racists were relying on evidence, you know, Pizzagate wouldn't be a thing. You know, I mean, that's sort of where it goes. If there were not people, if people were actually cared about evidence and relevancy, our world would make a lot more sense than it actually does.
I think I'm just saying with those characters, maybe the majority of racists don't know they were ever any other way, and they're just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, well, but then you'd get people mad that, oh, it was another black superhero.
Oh,
so
okay.
It's like, let's say you didn't know, because not for nothing, Sister Night never existed, and people were already all over Sister Night.
Oh, really?
Oh, they got to make all these social justice warriors black, and it's people are getting all mad about stuff.
Jeez.
But the fact of the matter is like, well, this is a new character, and it's not stepping on your Watchmen history, you know? Their biggest argument was that, oh, why are people in the Klan liking Rorschach? It's like, you know, and then you don't really know what to say, because it's like, I don't know, why do they like Pepe the Frog? It's, you know, no matter how you want to, you know, it's like Pepe the Frog wasn't a racist icon until someone started doing it, you know? This wasn't really a racist icon until someone started doing it, you know? This is ours now. We're racists and we're claiming it. It's like, why? Why do you have to claim things that aren't yours? So, yeah. So, no, I think that you have to look at how when something is truly a quality product, it really silences people in a way that I don't think is something that we're used to on the internet, you know. And maybe I think, you know, for what it's worth, even though there are studies to say no, the more reason and quality of argument you bring to a subject, the less people believe you. I'm actually starting to think that's not actually true. And let me give you an example. So you have this situation when they do these tests on, how people hold on to their beliefs, where they bring Yahoo number 1 and Yahoo number 2 in, and Yahoo 1 believes X and Yahoo Y believes Y, or 2 believes Y, So they can be diametrically opposed, but then you give them evidence that the idea they believe is wrong, and then they say, so how strongly do you believe in this? These people double down on their original beliefs. But this is and this is what I always say, this is in a closed circle environment where I know I'm giving you social judgment about what you actually believe. So you believe something, you're coming in, you're saying, I believe this, and I'm going to give you evidence that refutes that, and will answer your points. And now are you going to accept my points, essentially declare me the winner, thereby lowering your social standing, or will you instead accept my brilliance? Which, of course, immediately when you say that out loud, you realize, there's a huge flaw in that analysis. Logically, if you wanted to do a proper double blind of that study, what you would be doing is you would be having anonymized people giving their opinion, randomly selecting those people to get new evidence to argue their point, and then, again, randomizing who gets asked the question again to see what the changes are. And then you might see a lot more evidence of things moving forward, because if people who had true anonymity, they are going to respond differently. This is one of these things that I think when you look at the Trump polls, where he's always at 40%. It's like, yes, because they're calling the same people, and because they have this feel like these are people that A, participate in surveys, and B, admitted to voting for Trump. And now they're known to be people who participate in surveys and voted for Trump. And then when you start calling them, of course, they're going to say, yes, I still support Trump, 100%, 100%, because you know who they are. That doesn't mean outside of that moment, they aren't in there. They aren't in that perspective. And again, you're looking at, a self-selecting group where day after the election, after he got elected, there were probably a lot more Trump supporters that stopped being Trump supporters when they realized, that did not go the way I wanted it to.
No.
It was all well and good when it was just theoretical and I was making my protest against the man. Now it's not where I want to be. And so I think that these are qualities that the inaccuracy of polling when you actually do not have a truly anonymized sample. And again, anonymity goes to the person responding's anonymity, not your actual knowledge of their status. So, for example, a person who gets called and asked, did you vote for Trump? When they already know that someone just called them and said, did you vote for Trump? And it may truly be anonymous to the person taking the survey, but to the person receiving it, they feel like someone is calling them because they know who they are, and now they have to defend their position. So yeah. I don't even know how we got on this topic, Philip, but let's talk about
Watchmen.
Marvels on Stitcher.
Okay.
I am so excited about this. I'm like 2 paychecks away from just spending $35 for a year subscription to this. I got to be honest with you, Philip. I mean, I could do the $4.99 for a simple month. I hate doing that because these people work so hard on all of this, and I don't want to shortchange them.
Don't they have a trial period or something?
Yeah, it's a week, which would give me one episode, which is great. But it's like just listening to it because I did like Wolverine: The Long Life. You know what the problem is, Philip? I'm also in that spot where it's like, are you just going to do like we did with Wolverine, where a month later I'm going to get this for free with commercials?
Oh yeah. That's what I'm wondering.
Commercials, and I'd rather that they just put good content. It's like Hulu or Tubi. It's like, give me good content with commercials. I will be happy. If you're Maz Manzoor or Little Hellfire, you can pay extra to not have commercials. Just give me the content with commercials. I don't mind it.
I wonder if that was the business plan always, is the do it this way and then release it with commercials for free later, or if they were just they looked at Wolverines. If they wasn't doing the numbers they wanted, they're like, okay, let's put it up for free. So, yeah. Or are they always going to do this?
You know what the problem is I think that that's where they're at. So I think Marvel's actually could possibly, because it's an adaptation of an existing property, dealing with a lot of great characters that people love. Mm-hmm. I think that has a real strength to actually be an exclusive content for a bit longer. I think Wolverine, because it was, pretty much just Wolverine, who was very popular in the 90s. Let's be honest, he was very popular in the 90s. He's still relatively popular. He's a well-known character. I don't know if he has the dedicated fan base that's going to make you want to pay for it, especially since it's a non-X-Men story.
Yeah.
And really, it's non-X-Men, non-The Hand. I mean, that first one, I guess we got a Wendigo in it, maybe?
Kind of, sort, yeah.
We got sort of a Wendigo in it. We got the S.H.I.E.L.D. agents, although I think that were actually Weapon X agents, or now they're Sentinels. But it's all, it was all very, very left-handed how they did it, and very much to sort of not turn into the curve of the comic bookiness of it. And for all you lefties out there, I'm sorry I will often use left hand as a pejorative. It's my one racism left, so.
Oh, and then season 2, you got Gambit, the character who can't get a movie off the ground, so.
Well, no, but at least that was tying into the X-Men universe. And like acknowledging, this is a whole X-Men universe, and yes, all that. Basically, they just turned back into the skid for that. They said, that's, we didn't sell the first time, maybe we should totally embrace the comic books.
We can't get too artsy.
And then I think with them going to Marvels, I think that's what they're looking at. It's like, okay, let's just take an established concept, which is looking at all of the heroes. And the first one is, which I could get for free on that free week, is, the coming of Galactus. So, that's right in my wheelhouse. That's right where I'm going to be happiest. And I would love to get it. And it's like, I can do the free one, but it's like I'm afraid to in its own way too. I'm afraid to in its own way too, because I don't want to. On two levels. One is I don't want to be spending cash I don't have yet, and two, I don't want to pay for it and then have it free later.
Exactly. That's what I thought when they started putting Wolverine out for free. I'm like, wouldn't you be mad if you paid the premium and then it started coming out for free? If you don't mind commercials, we do.
Yeah, because what it is you pay the premium for the no commercial.
Yeah.
And so when Wolverine comes out, it is with commercial. So you get that idea. Well, no, I just don't want to listen to commercials, so it doesn't matter to me. I paid to have Wolverine no commercials. And I really think it's one of those things where, because it is that first time you're making that purchase, that it might grate with you. But I guess if you had already bought, no commercial podcasting, it would be fine. But if you're a person who doesn't mind commercials and you're already into commercial podcasting, that now I'm going to pay to have these, to get this one bit of content free, or this one bit of content without commercials, it kind of makes you wonder, well, then what am I don't like the idea of exclusive content, basically. And I know what they're trying to do. I think they need to go with like a Hulu model where it's like, look, you can get it with commercials or without. It's going to be the same content on it, but it's going to be with commercials or without. And, and it's like this question. So for example, and from my own podcasting perspective, should I spend this money to talk about this if I don't have anyone to talk about it with? Because I'm going to have it exclusive until my friends can all hop on and listen to it too. So, yeah, it's a difficult question that I'm trying to work through here. But they do have a guy saying, it's clobbering time in the ads. It's like, oh, man, right in my nerd spot. Oh, anyway. But that's Marvel's, I think. I'm excited about it. I'm cautious about it. I don't know where to be with it, Philip. I don't know where to be with it. Oh, what else is on our agenda this week?
The Mandalorian.
Oh my goodness, The Mandalorian.
Episode 4.
I love okay, so first off, let's talk about our former rebel shock troop.
Oh, yes.
Or a shock trooper, as she's once called also. Making me wonder, was she supposed to be rebellion? Was she supposed to be part of the Empire? Because I really got the feeling that, she might have been part of the rebellion, but she also maybe... okay, couple of things. So we know that she did clean up on Endor, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she makes a point about, dealing with the imps, which makes me wonder, was she freaking there to, clear out the Ewoks? Dealing with the imps makes me think that, unless it's imps as a abbreviation for Imperial Troopers.
Oh, man.
That could have been what she was referring to. And then it becomes, then she's just doing security for the, for delegates, and that's not what she signed up for. Because I guess she's a sociopath. She signed up to murder people. So, fair enough. And of course, there's probably a lot of people who, after the fall of the Empire, suddenly, who were maybe mid-level bureaucrats in the Empire are now like, no, I've always been supportive of the rebellion. Give me a job, please. I'm a diplomat. And that's sort of where that is. So, again, we have a situation where we have this really great character who doesn't get to go into the next episode.
I know. I was like, what? She's not going to be in any other episodes? But, I mean, we're already halfway through. So, I mean, there's only 4 more episodes this season.
Yeah. But, of course, I guess what they're doing is they're making it organic. Although, at the same... And I get you know what it is? I get the feeling the Mandalorian is a bit lonely. And he knows if he has this woman with him, just like that widow woman at the very end, just touching his mask, he's like, lady, don't. Because I might let you. And that's the thing. It's like he might let them.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, that is not our way.
And I think,
not the way.
And I think maybe it's like, a lot of these Mandalorians may be born into the faith. He wasn't. Because once again, he tells her the story about how, his parents were killed when he was pretty young. And then the Mandalorians took him in. So. Yeah.
So it's an open question. I'm fascinated by the idea. I'm interested in where it's going, but it's a little sad that him and and of course, for what it's worth, again, he should have known that someone was going to come for Baby Yoda here.
Oh yeah, if someone finds out, they're going to come. I guess he thought they were well enough hidden, but
no, because they all have trackers.
Exactly.
Like, how did he find them? With a tracker, because apparently they have these devices that can track a person across star systems. Which is kind of impressive when you think about it. It just goes beep. And then it's just like a beep, 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 beep. It's really that simple of a tracker, but it's like crossing over light years.
I was gonna say, if you're on another planet, does it beep once every like 10 minutes or something? Just like beep. Okay, he's a couple light years in that direction.
I don't know, maybe it's like communicating with your navigation droid. Who knows? But yeah, it just another great character that, again, only comes around once. And it's like, oh, come on. But I guess they didn't pay extra for the people that aren't wearing masks.
I just, I get it with the widow woman, but wouldn't you want at least one friend with you to, like, help if you are protecting Baby Yoda? Wouldn't you want at least one person with you to help protect the kid at least while you're sleeping or something?
Yeah, I mean, although maybe there is the question that he's not sure he can trust her.
Oh, yeah.
That's sort of where it comes down to for him. It's like, who can I really trust? Because, all of the other guild members came after him. Now, granted, he broke the word of the guild, so they were kind of justified in their own perspective on that. I don't know. It's 6 of 1, half a dozen. But yeah, I thought that one of these people should come along with him before the end. But then again, he doesn't want the trouble of shipping. Because it's going to be all shipping all the time on the internet if he has anybody with him. It's like,
Oh, did you see? I guess the one scene from this episode is now like a huge memeable thing all over the internet. Baby Yoda.
Which one is that?
Baby Yoda standing there sipping his soup.
No. I don't know anything about that.
When the Mandalorian and what's her face are fighting on, rolling around on the ground, and he's just it is just sitting there, just sipping its soup out of the bowl.
They referred to it several times with a masculine pronoun.
That's what I thought. Yeah,
I feel confident that they have gendered it as a male. So,
okay.
However they tell that with a Yoda.
It just seems so weird because every so often they'll say he or something, but I thought there was a past episode where they said she, but most of the time it's like it.
Yeah, it's usually it, and I don't recall them ever using a she. I mostly heard them calling it.
Yeah.
But then again, who knows? Like, this is the thing. We don't really know the gender of Yoda.
Or could they have shifting at gender?
Well, I mean, yeah, or just a completely different structure for their gendering. It's like it's an assumption to assume that their genders fall into a clear line.
Mm-hmm.
They could be marsupials for all we know. Anyway, but that's Yoda. And that's little Yiddle, as I like to call him. Yiddle. That's my name for him. I want that to catch on. #Gittle.
Another great meme I saw there said, here, me watching Iron Man 1 back in 2008, and it's like Baby Yoda, and then it's like me at the end watching Endgame, and it's like a picture of old Yoda from Return of the Jedi or something.
Yeah, well, Yoda's been around. It's interesting. Here's one of my favorite things about this episode, though, is we, again, getting into Mandalorian culture, which to me, that is like the anthropological discussion of Mandalorians is the most fascinating thing about this to me. Specifically just the idea that, the girl asks him, when was the last time you took off that mask? And he said yesterday, because like, I don't sleep with the mask on, it's that would be really uncomfortable and kind of stupid. Like, well, when was the last time you took it off in presence of other people? And he says, when I was a boy, because once you put on the mask, you don't take it off. And then later she asks, so if you take off the mask, do they hunt you down and kill you? And he says, no. But if you ever take it off, you can't put it back on it. Basically meaning that, if you ever willingly take off your own mask in front of other people, then you're a pariah in your community. And they're not going to hunt you down and kill you, but you will be ostracized. Which, I think goes to the entire, why they say, Jenga and Boba weren't real Mandalorians. They wore the armor, but they weren't. But then again, it does look like, as we're reading into what now the official canon of Mandalorian culture is, that basically they were a culture that was subject to a massive genocide by the Empire. And a cultural genocide as well, where their children were taken from them, which again goes to this idea of the foundling, that Mandalorian children were taken from them, raised in the Empire without their Mandalorian culture. So, the Mandalorians have taken other people's kids, and when they find a orphan child, they'll take them in and raise them to be Mandalorian.
Yeah.
So it is very fascinating, whether or not they were at war with the Jedi or at war with the Empire. I think it becomes kind of, at this point, kind of even a moot question. There were warlike people who, unfortunately, maybe chose the wrong side in all of this. So, but yeah. And then, of course, when we get our little Ewokian battle scene. And I also love the fact that it's like, again, this idea of like surplus Empire stuff. Because these are in no way like former stormtroopers that had I forget what they call that one, the two-legged walkers.
Oh, what they said AT-ST. I always thought it was AT-AT, but yeah.
Well, the AT-ATs are the snow walkers.
Oh, okay, yeah. I think that's the four-legged ones, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's real heavy armor. These are more for, again, light maneuvering. Although, again, with real difficulty. Yes, it cannot go downstairs. It's like the Ed 209. It cannot go downstairs.
Again, too, these mercenaries may have not been trained properly in its use either, too. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Although, for what it's worth, when it gets to the edge, it stops.
Oh yeah,
because it knows what it's dealing with here. You
don't want to go into the water. Yeah.
Yeah, and they got to get into it. So that is very fascinating to me, and because they do defeat it, which is great.
Yeah, because they went all A-team and were teaching the farmers like how to build booby traps and how to shoot and stuff.
Well, hey, if the Ewoks could take these things out,
Oh, yeah.
Ewoks vicious. And that's another one of these reasons why I got the feeling that maybe when she said she was there to clear out the imps, it was like clearing out the Ewoks, because I don't think Ewoks want the rebellion on their planet either.
Mm-mm. It's
like, this is Ewok land, man. You don't mess with Wicket. Wicket means bringer of death in Ewokian,
Are the Ewoks like the Native Americans?
Well, they're
just getting cleared off their land.
Yeah, well, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. We saw how well Princess or Queen Amidala felt about the Gungans, who were clearly the native species to that planet before all of these, all of the Amidalians or whatever showed up on that planet. And then all of a sudden, I guess you're our queen, but, we actually lived here first, and Gungans don't really trust you. And clearly the Gungans were having problems with the, not to mince words, the white people who had decided that they were the kings of that planet, the kings and queens. So yeah, I mean, going back, it's like clearly the humanoids do not treat the non-humanoids very poorly. And, it's very colonialist, but for what it's worth, in the new versions they're actually addressing it and the complexities thereof, because you have people who make deals and try to make the best of their bad situation. So it is what it is, But yeah, so I like the humans there, and I like Baby Yoda playing with the other little kid.
Yes.
And the mom saying she'll raise her as her own, And I like Yoda spitting out the frog. That was cute.
Oh yeah, the kids are all like,
the frog again, and all the kids are laughing. He's like, doesn't eat the whole frog. I was a little disappointed by that. I thought he should have eaten the whole frog. But then again, social norms in the culture, you don't just eat random frogs, even though that's probably perfectly normal for Yoda's culture.
mm-hmm.
For if they are swamp-based creatures, they probably eat a lot of live. That's where you get all the protein. That's where you get all the flavor. Raw food movement. But yeah, so yeah, The Mandalorian was just really great this episode. It does feel a little bit like a filler episode because not much happens. It's not part of the direct. We have to get the prize and get out, and it really only becomes about Yiddle at the very end when another bounty hunter shows up to shoot him. And that of course is sad. But of course the bounty hunter gets what's coming to him. And again, maybe that's another reason why the Mandalorian is not so keen to trust the former rebel, because she helped him, but now she also knows the value of this property.
Yes.
And what they're going to do next isn't sure what they're going to do. Man, I just hope that the Mandalorian raises Yiddle to be a Yoda Mandalorian.
Oh.
So that I want to see in this last Star Wars film, I want to see, a little Mandalorian just force blasting everybody.
I was going to say, that'd be useful because, the baby will get stronger with the Force as it gets older. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, it's already pretty dang strong with the Force, because the Force is just natural to the Yoda-ish people,
Mm-hmm.
So they just develop the Force, and it's just, like walking or talking or anything else. Oh, anyway. You want to talk about whatever comic books we didn't get to last night?
Sure.
Yeah, because I do have a couple here. Do you have any comics you didn't get to last night?
I don't know. Well, here, go ahead.
So, okay, let's just start off with Justice League Dark. I was going to try and bring that up when you guys brought up Constantine, but then we switched subjects. So for those who don't remember, so this one is actually, we start off with a really nice legend of Circe, how she murdered her husband because he was a jerk. Well, they kind of say he's like a drunken, violent, angry guy. And, she sort of strung up his body. She seems like a real sociopath because she is like stringing up the body and, all that kind of whatnot. And then the people rebel against her. She sort of sails away to a little secret island where she meets Hecate, the triple goddess of who, whatever and whatever, gives Circe the power to essentially transform people into animals. And then, of course, as you will recall in the last episode, Wonder Woman, Circe took over Wonder Woman's body. And they're like trying to figure out what to do next. And of course, who's the only one who figures out that Circe's in Wonder Woman's body?
Constantine?
Constantine.
Yeah,
No. Detective Chimp.
Of course.
Yeah. But, once it gets done, then they, try to fight her. And then, of course, she turns Detective Chimp back into a chimp. Though that's the question. Now, here's my biggest question for turning Detective Chimp into a chimp. I don't know if you actually become an animal when she transforms you into an animal, or if you retain who you were, but now you're just an animal and can no longer speak. So I wonder what exactly she did to Detective Chimp there. She makes the joke, is like, oh, you were better as a chimp anyway, which is like, yeah, I know. I've been saying that for the last 4 issues, lady. Don't know why you're making a point of it. This is kind of BA. She takes away Zatanna's mouth. But then, of course, Zatanna, literally cuts her mouth back. It just cuts her face where her mouth is, so that she can use her magic again. And then we get all the bad guys showing up. And a couple of interesting points in this scene. Aside from, our new Guardian of the Green, Solomon Grundy's still there. Grundy. We actually have the Pharaonic Man making a point about his was able to decay Swamp Thing to mush. But then again, if you look, he's also now missing a leg. So he seems to be in a state of decay himself, which I find interesting. He's also dropping petals like left and right. And you got Constantine versus Papa Midnight. But, that's not going to end poorly. Oh, quick thing here. Apparently, the next issue, the December issue, still has original content from Mad Magazine. So maybe they're backtracking this whole, that they're going to be doing a mix of new content and old, which is...
I was going to say, they're going to do...
They always did.
Are they going to do, specials just every so often, or...
I don't know, man.
Maybe it's not a monthly thing.
Stuff December 18th, so probably going to pick that up again,
Christmas special.
It's like new Coke. Once they get rid of it, now you want the classics back, and now maybe I'm back to buying Mad Magazine. But yeah, so it ends on a cliffhanger here because we see, Diana's consciousness still stuck on the moon with this lady. I forget what her name is. And then you realize that, the Hanging Man shows up in the end and says, "Oh, things could always be worse." So, yep. Justice League Dark is still rolling on there. I really enjoy it still. It's a very good book. It's got a neat adventure happening. I like that. Did you have a book you want to talk, or do I got?
Yeah, I'll tell. Fantastic Four Grand Design #2.
Oh yeah,
I thought this was going to be a straight retelling, but I don't know if this is it's supposed to be an alternate timeline now because they do the whole. Well, they do the Coming of Galactus, which seems pretty normal, and they're going along. They meet the Black Panther. They got the Inhuman stuff. Doom stealing the Surfer's power. I mean, everything seems normal, but then it's like Galactus returns and he's like, "Oh, you need to find the Silver Surfer for me," and they can't find the Silver Surfer. So do you ever remember Reed becoming the Herald of Galactus?
It sounds super vaguely familiar, but not from anything that I know of.
Yeah, basically, Reed becomes the Herald of Galactus and takes him to Counter Earth, where Adam Warlock's standing up to them, and then there's a big high evolutionary Galactus fight.
Oh, well, that's had to be something from the 70s then.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
80s maybe.
But no, I think there's some retconning here because Galactus comes to Earth, and then all the Marvel Universe comes out to stop him, including Black Panther, who has his own force and mechanized lions.
Oh, cool.
Which form into a giant, but in the pink one is Shuri. So I was like, okay, I know that wasn't there originally.
Yeah. So, I guess what they're first off, let me just say this: in the X-Men Grand Design, did they do merging of characters that always existed but you just didn't know about, and then bring them back to the fore?
I'm trying to remember. They kind of played with time travel at the end of the last one, so. Did a loop back around, but
yeah, because I guess if we were to do modern continuity into if you had a Shuri in the 60s, then yes, she would be. Making her the pink, the pink Voltron is a little on the nose. Just gonna say it, but
Oh, but no, they definitely change in history here because after Reed betrays Galactus, he blasts him away, and they're oh, they think he's either dead or he's missing or something. Because then when the Beyonders thing shows up in Central Park to take everyone to the first Secret Wars, Ben walks in alone thinking Reed's dead, but then he finds Reed on Battle World. I don't think Johnny even goes with him. I'm like, what?
Okay. So, I think what we can say is Franklin did not put the universe back where he found it.
I guess. Or like I said...
I think that's sort of what we're getting into now. It's basically this was... You know how they say, it was a soft reboot of the universe? I think in many ways it kind of is that basically Franklin's no, the universe is literally a week old. Literally Franklin Richards recreated the universe for the giggles of it,
Yeah.
It's not a new universe starting on. It was, let's put it all back where Franklin Richards wanted it to be, or where Franklin and Owen wanted it to be. And if Owen is also the Beyonder, then it's you do this nice cyclical thing of the Beyonder actually was God the whole time. Oh my gosh! The Beyonder is the one above all. And he was always the one above all. Oh my god!
But they changed some stuff. Like Daredevil was defending Reed during the trial of Galactus, and
that is true.
Oh, did he?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay.
He was a lawyer. He's a lawyer, so yeah. I believe he was there though.
Yeah, he might have been there. I didn't think he was. Yeah, I didn't think he was there for long. But yeah, no, the issue ends weird because it's like they go into that Days of Future Past storyline where Franklin's an adult, and then like. At the end, he time travels back and he's hanging out with Reed, Johnny, and Ben when Ben was Blackbeard and stuff.
Oh yeah, I love Blackbeard. Yes, there was interesting stuff there. That sounds interesting. I mean, now I'm actually kind of more interested in it because now it's a new story.
Yeah, it's not like a straight retelling, Hannah.
I just wish the print wasn't so small.
I know they try to jam a lot into one page.
No digital copy. It's like. Give me a digital copy so that I can enlarge it on my phone, take off my glasses, and say, ooh,
Yeah, they did the same thing with
the page. That's what I want,
Yeah, I don't know what's up. Even with the X-Men ones, they didn't do a digital code either. So,
yeah. Well, keeping in the theme of Fantastic Four, I have Invisible Woman number 5, which is the final arc in the story. I mean, it's lost a little bit of the thread, I think. I think they stopped the villain from getting the device that could monitor all communications all the time. Yada, yada. But, Maria Hill, believes Sue is not a villain, and so they team up. But somehow they don't notice that the spy actually stowed away with them anyway. She goes to, because we see that. Because he disappears. Oh, but then we see, nope, he snuck aboard her ship. And I'm like, oh, gee, the Invisible Woman and the super spy Maria Hill didn't notice this dude get on the ship. But okay. He just snuck away in the dark. It's a little bit of a plot contrivance. And then you have her sort of create a little force field so they could, because there's the people on this one jet that as soon as it enters into some country's airspace, it's going to blow up. So Sue has to get on that. She turns the entire plane invisible so they can find where this device might be hidden. One of the guys who's being helpful actually knocks out the pilot because he was trying to be helpful because the pilot was holding a gun on Sue. There's our invisible jet. That's cool. But anyway, it gets to this whole thing where they do find the bomb, they get rid of the bomb, but then the bad guy who, again manages to overpower Maria Hill, knock her out, and then steal her plane, just so he could go after Sue Storm. And he basically, commits suicide by Sue Storm. Where, because he's mad because Sue had a no-kill rule, and she's and he's like, oh, how dare you think you're better than me just because you have a no-kill rule. It's like, just because you don't have the strength to kill someone. It's like, dude, I have the strength to kill someone. I think about every day about how I could easily kill you a million different ways. My rule is I don't kill, and that's what takes strength. Not the strength to kill, but the strength to not kill. And that's our moral lesson for the day. But basically she says, and he's basically saying, the only way that you can stop me from blowing up your plane is to put a force shield up so I ram into it. And he's like, yeah, exactly. So don't ram into the dang plane, dude. But he does, and then he dies, and then it's all sad. He buries a little locket that she gave him, or he gave her, something like that, under a tree in Ireland, because that's sort of his thing. And then, and then Sue says she doesn't want to do spy stuff for a little while. It's like, yeah, cool. I mean, it's touching. It's beautiful. I enjoyed it. Mark Waid did a great job on telling a really neat little untold tale of the Invisible Woman. But there's only so much you can do in these little sort of contained stories for these characters that are cosmically large. And then, hey, see what else she's going to do in Fantastic Four number 17 coming soon. So, yeah, that was the Invisible Woman. I liked it, though. I'll give it a thumbs up.
Sounds good. I might have to pick up the trade or something.
Yeah, I would recommend it. It's a lot of fun, especially if you like the idea of, Sue Storm Super Spy. It works nicely. Last book I got this week was Alternate Comics, Gods and Gears, number 1.
Ooh.
Out of print. So, there you go. This one, they did a push for it because see, here's the ad for it right on the back of its own book. Myths, machines, and monsters, gods and gears. And I got this. I'll get issue 2 coming soon. And it is very interesting because it's like working in like weird alternate timelines. So we start off in 1910, but it's apparently some kind of like a diesel punk 1910 where it's like magic and machinery because Captain Driver is the name of the hero in this. Well, not the hero because it's actually his mechanic who is the hero. He has this alchemical formula that connects the mechanic and the driver in their super car with sidecar that they then jump a big ramp to do in Carbon City, Michigan, too. I love that aspect of it. But then the mechanic, what's his name? I think they'll get to that again in a minute, but yeah. So his mechanic falls out of the car, and then, as you do, falls through a space-time portal. Falls through that space-time portal to actually 1890, Mycelia, South America. And immediately it looks like a weird kind of mushroom tree world, so that can't be right. But apparently on this world, he meets the grandson of a famous alchemist who's going on his own adventures. And our mechanic's name is Jimmy, by the way. And the grandson says, well, you can be my sidekick. And he's like, I'm not sure about that. Then we've got like gorilla men monsters who are attacking them. These are the Thunder Bros. And if you like sentient gorillas, this may be the book for you. And this I love. They actually choose to get away from the gorillas by climbing a tree. This doesn't seem logical, but they actually make the point because they take a formula to make them, or they eat some leaves that make them as give them the energy of spider monkeys. I think it was cocaine, but but they make the point of how they can like move to places that the gorillas couldn't because the gorillas were too heavy to move in the trees with that kind of skill. So apparently Tarzan lied to us. So they do escape for a little bit, and again, like I said, you get this definite idea that wherever they are, it may be called South America, but it certainly ain't Kansas. And we find out that this, that we get our third character who is going to be possessed by our villain of the piece, who's this lady, Ezimar, the alchemist, as well, who's going to get revenge on the man who imprisoned her by attacking his grandson. So yeah, it's a fun book, a lot of good. Definitely am going to be reading this. Definitely going to get more. Notice that they have like a whole thing in here about, hey, you can advertise in their books.
Oh yeah,
making me wonder how much they charge and how much they would charge to put an ad for, say, Superconnectivity in alternate comics.
I forget. I've seen a price list before. I'll have to look that up.
Yeah, I'd like to look into that. See, you know what? If we would have put like a little, hey, you love comics? You love all the craziness? Listen to Superconnectivity. Might get us a few more listeners. That's all I'm saying, Philip.
How about Capes and Lunatics? That'll get you some Superconnectivity plus other...
Okay, we can do Capes and Lunatics too, Philip. Jeez. Anyway. But those were my books this week. All in all, I thought it was a good haul. From Conan 2099 to Gears and Gods. It was a lot of good books out there. So, yeah. That's all I got to say about this week. Phil, you got anything for this week's roundup?
No. I think that's it. Between last night and today, I would think we talked all the comics.
Yep, and Mandalorian and Marvels and more of the Watchmen too. Electric Boogaloo. Definitely looking forward to next week, to this Sunday's Watchmen. Might even, if I can stay awake, I might even live tweet it.
Wow.
That's the dream, to stay awake long enough to live tweet something. Okay, so in the meantime, Philip, how can people find you?
If you want to get a hold of me personally, you can always email me, nightwingpdp@gmail.com. On Twitter, I am at nightwingpdp. And just remember to check out the Capes and Lunatics. Always email us, capesandlunatics@gmail.com. The voicemail is 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And remember to check out all of our social media. at Linktree. That's linktr.ee/capes and lunatics. And remember to support the sponsors like Hunter Killer, Tweaked Audio, Bipod Life the book, and remember, use the Southgate Media Group link when you shop at Amazon, and it'll put more money in the hands of Master Doom. All hail Master Doom.
All hail Master Doom. Alrighty then, and of course, if you'd like to write to me in that old-fashioned email way, the way our Maz and Paz once did, do so at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, @gmail.com. And of course, follow me on the Twitters as I live tweet something soon, I promise. At Charlie Esser, that's CharlieEsser. Look for the 2 E's. Where? In the middle.
For quality. Bing!
There you go. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for connecting with us once again this week. Please super connect with us again next. Good night.
Good night.
I don't know. Okay.
White man dance.
Yeah. Ben's mad because I'm sitting in his chair.
Oh.
Yeah.
Abdicate the throne, old man.